happy Tuesday or happy whatever day you're watching this. Real quick, it is official as of Monday, May 4th. We're not going back to school this year. We'll be doing school at home, which means I will see you guys in the hallway as seniors, or maybe I'll have you in senior seminar. Who knows? So yeah, that is official. In case you're hearing rumors, it is true. We're not going back this year. Okay, so let's get into the assignment because it's not like I can hear your responses. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, all right, we're going to have a little trick here. You want to open this up, make it half the screen, and then open this up and make it half the screen. Okay, when you do that, it should look like this. Okay, so we're going to get started. All right, the perk of watching the video is I'll, hint, hint, nudge, nudge the answers for you. Okay, so let's get started. In 1935, Hitler began to defy the Treaty of Versailles that had ended World War I. He announced that Germany would build a new air force and begin a military draft that would greatly expand its army, actions in direct violation of the treaty. Rather than enforce the treaty by going to a war, European leaders tried to negotiate with Hitler. At the time, the Nazi regime was weaker than it later would become. If European leaders had responded more aggressively, could war have been avoided? Historians still debate this question today. European leaders had several reasons for believing, or wanting to believe, that a deal could be reached with Hitler and that war could be avoided. First, lost my spot. There we go. First, they wanted to avoid the repeat of the bloodshed of World War I. Second, some thought Hitler's demands were reasonable, including his demand that all German-speaking regions be united. Third, many people assumed that Nazis would become more interested in peace once they gained more territory. The Austrian Anschluss. In late 1937, Hitler again called for the unification of all German-speaking people, including those in Austria and Czechoslovakia. He believed that Germans could expand its territory only by resorting to force with its attendant risks. In February 1938, Hitler threatened to invade German-speaking Austria unless Austrian Nazis were given important government posts. Austria's chancellor gave in to this demand, but then tried to put the matter of unification with Germany to a democratic vote. Fearing the outcome, Hitler sent troops into Austria in March and announced the Anschluss, or unification, of Austria and Germany. Hint, hint. Unification. That's your answer for number 1. Make sure that you spell it correctly because it's automatically getting graded. It'll mark it wrong if it's spelled wrong. So, unification. Pause the video and type your answer. Okay, welcome back. So, we're looking at the Munich crisis. We are on page 12 or page 689, depending on what page you're looking at. The Munich crisis. Hitler next announced German claims to the Sudetenland, an area of Czechoslovakia with a large German-speaking population. The Czechs strongly resisted Germany's demands for the Sudetenland. France threatened to fight if Germany attacked Czechoslovakia, and the Soviet Union also promised aid. Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain pledged Britain's support to France, its ally. Representatives of Britain, France, Italy, and Germany agreed to meet in Munich to decide Czechoslovakia's fate. At the Munich conference on September 29, 1938, Britain and France agreed to Hitler's demands, a policy that became known as appeasement. In other words, they made concessions in exchange for peace. Appeasement is the policy of giving concessions in exchange for peace. So pause the video, write this word for your answer. All right, we are continuing right here. Supporters of appeasement believed that Hitler had a few limited demands. They felt that if they gave him what he wanted, they could avoid war. Czechoslovakia was told to give up the Sudetenland or fight Germany on its own. We've got another answer. So number 3, at the Munich conference, Czechoslovakia's leaders were informed that they must give up blank or fight Germany on its own. So Czechoslovakia was told to give up the Sudetenland. So that's what you're typing right here. So pause the video, type your answer. All right, we are continuing right here. When Chamberlain returned home, he promised a peace with honor, peace in our time, but he also began to speed up British rearmament in case appeasement failed. Appeasement did fail to preserve the fragile peace. In March 1939, Germany sent troops into Czechoslovakia and divided the country. Slovakia became independent in name, but it was actually under government control. The Czech lands became a German protectorate. Hitler demands Danzig. A month after the Munich conference, Hitler demanded that the city of Danzig be returned to German control. Although Danzig was more than 90% German, it had been part of Poland since World War I. Hitler also requested a highway and railroad across the Polish corridor, an area that separated Western Germany from the German state of East Prussia. Hitler's new demands convinced Britain and France that war was inevitable. There we go, we got another answer. So Hitler's demands of Poland convinced blank and blank that war was inevitable. So your answer, Britain and France. All right, so Britain and France, that should be your answer for number 4. All right, now we're looking for number 5. Stalin believed the best way to protect the USSR was to have the blank nations turn against each other. On March 31st, 1939, Britain announced that if Poland went to war to demand its territory, Britain and France would come to its aid. This declaration encouraged Poland to refuse Hitler's demands. In 1939, Hitler ordered the German army to prepare to invade Poland. He also ordered his foreign minister to begin negotiations with the USSR. If Germany was going to fight Britain and France, Hitler did not want to fight the Soviets too. The Nazi-Soviet Pact. When German officials proposed a non-aggression treaty with the Soviets, Stalin agreed. He believed the best way to protect the USSR was to turn capitalist nations against each other. So there we go. Capitalist nations. That is your answer for number 5, capitalist nations. So pause the video, type in your answer, and come on back. If the treaty worked, Germany would go to war against Britain and France, and the USSR would be safe. The Non-Aggression Pact signed by Germany and the USSR on August 23, 1939, shocked the world. Communism and Nazism were supposed to be totally opposed to each other. Leaders in Britain and France understood, however, that Hitler made the deal to free himself for war against their countries and Poland. They did not know that the treaty also contained a secret deal to divide Poland between Germany and the Soviet Union. The war begins. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war on Germany. World War I had begun. Poland bravely resisted Germany's onslaught, but its army was outdated. The Polish army rode horses and carried lances against German tanks. In addition, the Germans used a new type of warfare called blitzkrieg, or lightning war. Blitzkrieg used large numbers of massed tanks to break through and rapidly encircle enemy positions. To support the tanks, waves of aircraft bombed enemy positions and dropped paratroopers to cut their supply lines. The Polish army could not repel the attack. Warsaw, the Polish capital, fell to the Germans on September 27th. By October 5th, 1939, the Germans had defeated the Polish army. The number 7 is military. So you're answering military right here for number 7. All right, so we're looking at the fall of France. In contrast to the war in Poland, Western Europe remained eerily quiet. The Germans referred to the situation as the Sitzkrieg, or sitting war. The British called it the Boer War, while American newspapers nicknamed it the Phony War. The British had sent troops to France, and both countries remained on the defensive, waiting for the Germans to attack. After World War I, the French had built a line of concrete bunkers and fortifications called the Maginot Line along the German border. Rather than risk their troops by attacking, the French preferred to wait behind the Maginot Line for the Germans to approach. The decision proved to be disastrous for two reasons. First, it allowed Germany to concentrate on Poland first before turning to face the British and the French. Second, Hitler decided to go around the Maginot Line, which protected France's border with Germany, but not France's border with Belgium. To get around the Maginot Line, the Germans would have to invade the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg first, which is exactly what they did. On May 10th, Hitler launched a new blitzkrieg. While German troops parachuted into the Netherlands, an army of tanks rolled into Belgium and Luxembourg. The British and French had expected the German attack. As soon as it began, British and French forces raced north into Belgium. This was a mistake. Instead of sending their tanks through the open countryside of central Belgium, the Germans sent their main force through the Ardennes Mountains of Luxembourg in eastern Belgium. The French did not think that the large numbers of tanks could move through the mountains and had left only few troops to defend that part of the border. The Germans easily smashed through the French lines, then turned west across the northern France to the English Channel. The British and French armies were still in Belgium and could not move back to France quickly enough. They were now trapped in Belgium. Let's look and see if we have any questions yet. Oh, we do. Number 8. We read right past number 8. So what do you think number 8 was? You're right. Number 8's the Maginot Line. So you're typing, actually don't type the, just type Maginot Line. So that is what you're typing here. Pause, type it in. Come back for number 9. All right. The miracle at Dunkirk. After trapping the Allied forces in Belgium, the Germans began to drive them toward the English Channel. The only hope for Britain and France was to evacuate their surviving troops by sea, but the Germans had captured all but one port, Dunkirk, in northern France near the Belgian border. As German forces closed in on Dunkirk, Hitler suddenly ordered them to stop. No one is sure why he gave this order. Historians know that Hitler was nervous about risking his tank forces, and he wanted to wait until more infantry arrived. Hermann Göring, the head of the German Air Force, also assured Hitler that aircraft alone could destroy the trapped soldiers. There is also evidence that Hitler thought that the British would be more willing to accept peace if the Germans did not humiliate them by destroying their forces at Dunkirk. Whatever Hitler's reasons, his order provided a 3-day delay. This gave the British time to strengthen their lines and begin the evacuation. Some 850 ships of all sizes, from Navy warships to small sailboats operated by civilian volunteers, headed to Dunkirk from England, many of them making the 48-mile trip multiple times. French, Dutch, and Belgian ships joined British ones in Operation Dynamo. The British had hoped to rescue about 45,000 troops. Instead, when the evacuation ended on June 4th, an estimated 338,000 British and French troops had been saved. This became known as the miracle at Dunkirk. So right here, this is your answer. 338,000. So for number 9, you're typing 338,000. All right, so we're almost there. I think we have 4 questions left. Moving on. This evacuation had its price. However, almost all of British Army's equipment remained at Dunkirk. 90,000 rifles, 7,000 tons of ammunition, and 120,000 vehicles. If Hitler invaded Britain, it would be almost impossible to stop him from conquering the country. 3 weeks later, on June 22, 1940, Hitler accepted the French surrender of the same railway car in which the Germans had surrendered in World War I. I'm going to read that again because that's actually pretty interesting. 3 weeks later, on June 22, 1940, Hitler accepted the French surrender in the same railway car in which the Germans had surrendered at the end of World War I. Germany now occupied much of northern France and its Atlantic coastline. To govern the rest of France, Germany installed a puppet government at the town of Vichy and made Marshal Philippe Pétain the new government's figurehead leader. Pétain predicted that Britain will have her neck wrung like a chicken. So we've got an answer to number 10, puppet government. There you go. Pause the video, answer number 10, and come on back. Welcome back. Britain remains defiant. Neither Pétain nor Hitler anticipated the bravery of the British people or the spirit of their leader Winston Churchill, who had replaced Neville Chamberlain as a prime minister. Hitler expected Britain to negotiate peace after France surrendered, but on June 4, 1940, Churchill delivered a defiant speech in Parliament, vowing that Britain would never surrender. The speech was intended to rally the British people and to alert the isolationist United States to Britain's plight. Realizing Britain would not surrender, Hitler ordered his commanders to prepare to invade. Getting across the English Channel, however, proved to be a major challenge. So we've got 12. We missed 11. So here's number 12. Okay, getting across the English Channel, however, posed to be a major challenge. If you're not putting the, make sure you just type English Channel, capitalize it because it is a proper noun. So you're putting English Channel for 12. When you come back, we'll go back and find 11. Okay, so let's find 11. Oh, very first sentence. Neither Pétain nor Hitler anticipated the bravery of the British people or the spirit of their leader. So Hitler expected to negotiate peace, but he had not anticipated the blank of the British people. So that's going to be bravery. It's not a word-for-word sentence, so it was a little trickier. There we go. So bravery is number 11. That's what you're putting for number 11. All right. Last question. Realizing Britain would not surrender, Hitler ordered his commanders to prepare to invade. Getting across the English Channel, however, posed to be a major challenge. Germany had few transport ships, and the British Air Force would sink them if they had tried to land troops in England. To invade, therefore, Germany had to defeat the British Royal Air Force. In June 1940, the German Air Force, called the Luftwaffe, began to attack British shipping and the English Channel. Then, in mid-August, the Luftwaffe launched an all-out battle to destroy the Royal Air Force. This air battle, which lasted into the fall of 1940, became known as the Battle of Britain. On August 23rd, German bombers accidentally bombed London, the British capital. This attack on civilians enraged the British, who responded by bombing Berlin the following night. For the first time in the war, bombs fell on the German capital. Infuriated, Hitler ordered the Luftwaffe to stop attacks on British military targets and to concentrate on bombing London. Hitler's goal was to terrorize the British people into surrendering. The British endured, however, taking refuge in cellars and subway stations whenever German bombers appeared. Although the Royal Air Force was greatly outnumbered, the British had one major advantage. They had developed a new technology called radar. Using radar stations placed along their coast, the British were able to detect incoming aircraft and direct British fighters to intercept them. Day after day, the British fighters inflicted more losses on the Germans than they suffered. During the long battle, Germany lost 1,733 aircraft, while the British lost 915 fighter planes, along with 449 pilots. The skill of more than 2,000 British and 500 foreign pilots, including many Poles, Canadians, Frenchmen, and a few Americans, successfully thwarted Hitler's plan to invade Britain. These pilots flew as often as 5 times a day. Praising them, Churchill told Parliament, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." On October 12, 1940, Hitler canceled the invasion of Britain. So the very last question, I'm going to lead up to you. I'm going to give you a hint, though. It is one word, starts with R, and you are going to find the answer in this paragraph right here. Okay, so there you go. Make sure you click submit. Make sure you click turn it in, and you're all done for today. Well, I won't see you, but you'll see me tomorrow.